Good evening and welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast. I'm joined this evening with Zach and Jamie. How are we tonight, lads?
All good, all good.
Good, man, good. We didn't get called Zamie, so it's a win so far.
Oh, honestly, I forgot about that. I haven't had to worry about that for a bit. Yeah, let's talk about the game last night, Swansea. We were lucky, I think, in the end to get a point. Even though we hung in there, we stuck on. I do say that we were lucky only because Swansea, being the team that they are, I feel like they probably could have put us to the sword. But I don't know. What do you think, Jamie? What was the sort of
I
performance
think
on last
if
night?
you want my overall kind of how the game went, I would say the first 25 minutes we battered them. We
Mm.
pressed high. They were shell shocked from the goal. They didn't know what to do. We were aggressive in the play. We were going well. And then Swansea, my best mate who's a Pompey fan came in last night and he literally turned around and went, they're just a budget Atletico Madrid, this Swansea. And they were slowing the game down, winning every foul, and just playing ball. They stopped our momentum and they did it really well. Fair play to them. They grew into the game. They cut the momentum deep. Troy got that yellow card. Obviously, the whole team was pissed off at that point. They rattled us a bit and they just got back into it with two, in all fairness, like as much as I'm going to bitch about the defending later on for the goals,
We
they
got a new
were two
segment for
there
that.
were two phenomenal finishes.
Yeah, no, they
Like
were.
the first one, especially. Like I don't care who you got in goal. Paul Ruddy was no, you never get into that.
Hmm.
I think I called it on the vlog actually. As soon as he left his foot, I was like, "That's in." I just knew
Yeah.
it immediately. It was
Yeah,
just such a brilliantly well taken finish.
Oh, it was
yeah.
such a lovely finish. I think we went in and at 1-1, like my mate said to me again, because as soon as said 2 minutes added on, my mate said, "You need half time
Mm,
now," and I was like, "Yeah, we do." And as soon as it went in, we all went, "They're fucking
shit.
out that."
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
second half, obviously sat there at half time, and I just said like, come on, like, please. And we came out and we aggressed second half. And last season, we'd lose that 4-1, 5-1. Like, but we had grit, fight. It was a true Birmingham City performance as a fan. Like, we battled to the death. And if we lost that game 2-1, I would have been pissed off. But we gave everything in that second half. And that's what impressed me the most.
Yeah, you're completely right when you say that was a typical Birmingham City performance because it
Yeah.
was it was just graft, wasn't it? I think personally, in terms of the teams we played recently, the QPRs, the Burnleys, etc., I think that was our genuinely our toughest game. I think, like you
Yeah.
said, Jamie, I thought Swansea managed the game really well. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
spells of decent play, to be fair, especially after the first goal. They started growing into the game. They had spells of good play. For me, we've always said, "Oh, Burnley away will be our toughest, Blackburn away." That's the toughest team I think we played this season in terms of
That's
how they looked. But overall, I think a really good result given what Swansea looked like last night, their position in the table, their squad, some decent players in there. But yeah, a typical Blues performance, obviously going 1-0 up. Shame away that we threw away a one goal lead. Again, like you said, though, the goals were decent. I have no issues with the first goal. Sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and say, yeah, great goal. Second goal, maybe I feel Grimes had a bit too much space, but goals go in. It's part of football.
yeah.
And then Deeney getting the goal thoroughly deserved. So it was amazing, wasn't it? He flipping deserved it. He's been
He earned
brilliant this
Yeah.
that.
season. As a goal, he fucking deserved. And a
Yeah.
90th minute as well. Just makes it 10
Listen.
times better, doesn't
It
it?
was just written in the stars. You could just the way Troy was getting treated by the ref, the Swansea player, like when he got that yellow, and then that Swansea player went down, held his head like, "Oh, he hit me," and
Mm,
he earned that goal, and you could see that was the
yeah.
ultimate fuck you when he put it in the net. He
Yeah.
just hit that with pure
Smashed it, didn't
anger,
he?
like
Absolutely no mercy. He was like
no.
2 yards out and just he's brilliant, brilliant. Yeah,
Uh,
great way to great way to earn a point. It's nice because we haven't had too many late goals so far this season. What we have had though is early goals. We are, I think, the team with the most goals in the first 15 minutes of games,
yeah.
which completely makes sense because I think we start our games brilliantly under Eustace. We always seem to start on the front foot and get at teams. So yeah, it's a nice little accolade to have. We've got least goals conceded, most goals scored in the first 15 minutes. We're picking up these invisible trophies with ease this season. It's
It's a really good
beautiful.
Great.
point, yeah.
Great. I mean, I did curse us last night because I turned around to my mate and went, Did you know all season we haven't conceded in the first half of St Andrews, lads? And they literally looked at me and went, dickhead, like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
wrong? And we're 2-1 down at half time. I'm like, fuck my life, like.
We could create another segment called Jamie Talks Bollocks, and then we concede. That'd be a good segment.
You
as
can't
well.
talk. You were claiming that bloody Dwight York and someone had beef the other week on the podcast.
I
Or you were,
well, that was vague. That was
no,
we'll hold man's up on that one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Oh no, I'm not even going to try and say it because
can't
I
remember
still
who it
don't really
was.
know who it was.
Dig a deeper hole.
My cousin put a good point to me last night as well. He said to me this morning when I chatted to him about the game, he said, Swansea played the football that Eustace wants us to play. The way they played out from the back, the quality of like just you imagine having the like Trusty, Sanderson, Dean, like they're great, but imagine if they were a little bit better on the ball. Like the way they were just in danger and they just bang like pass, midfield, gone. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what the fuck just happened? Like,
You're completely right, because a lot of the time we'll have the ball at the back, won't we? Especially going back a season or two. I remember from kickoffs, we'd always go to Mark Roberts and he'd always try a diagonal pass to the left or right, and every time it would go out of play.
yeah, that
And
happened
we-
last night.
I missed
Straight
Exactly.
away.
That's the thing. We still do it every now and then. It is less, but we still do it. But I think having those ball playing centre backs, which Swansea clearly did, Ben Cabagno, Forsyth, can't remember his name fully, but I know they're decent on the ball. And yeah, they played it out from the back really well. So if we can start adopting that style as well, then just accelerate our team even more.
I did really like Troy's comment last night. Like, I feel bad because Tommy's not getting a word in here, but I love Troy's comments last night where he said, like,
Damn you!
Sorry, Tommy.
we're 20 games in now, and we've, like, teams are starting to respect us now as well. Like, teams are knowing what they're about to have coming at them. Like, you get the last 4 or 5 games we played, you can see that teams are set up to deploy, block Chung, stop Hannibal. If like them two are a threat and they know it. How many times did Paul Chung get absolutely crucified last night when he tried to go forward?
Yeah,
Start of the
I
second
feel like
half.
there was a couple of chances he had, didn't he? There was the one on the byline that nearly ended in an own goal.
Yes.
And then there was the one that sort of was it Dean? He took it on, but then it deflected into Chung, and
I
he had a
think
shot
so.
and it went wide.
And then Hogan had that shot that was going. Had the keeper saved that, by the way. Did you see it? He was going the other way into the bottom corner of the first half.
Deflected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought the keeper was pretty poor for Swansea. I won't lie. I thought their back line was great, but I thought the keeper looked shaky. So I was
That was his
surprised he
only good
got to
moment.
that. Yeah, it was a great save. To be fair, he certainly made up for the first goal because he was for sure partly to blame. But yeah, that would have been a lovely goal to score.
I'm going to shut up and let Tommy put a word in anyway.
Get something in.
I feel like I'm just sort of going to pose some questions to you two because I feel like a lot of my points from last night have been really sort of highlighted by the ref sort of bad decisions, really, which we should talk about because it was a very big event, big theme throughout the whole game, really, just how poor the referee was. Which I would like to reiterate. I'm not frustrated with him personally. It's just, it's part of the sport, you know what I mean? So like it's when things don't go your way all the time. Things get frustrated and you boil over and you get upset. So it's like, like there's opportunities for the referee just to let the game flow. And he keeps picking up on such little small decisions that in the large grand scheme of things, he could just let carry on, really. So I want to get your thoughts on this. We'll come to you, Jamie, first because you're pulling some faces.
Can we let Zach go first?
Go on then, Zach. Have your thoughts on that.
I'll let Jamie warm up. I imagine there's a million thoughts going through your head. So,
processing, just processing.
The ref was, we have to highlight when a ref does bad because at the end of the day, we'll pick out when a player does bad, and as much as the players want to do well, so do the referee. So, yeah, last night the referee just seemed inconsistent. Like you said, he was fat. He was blowing his whistle for a lot of things when all fans and players just want the game to flow nicely. I think it's we've seen it for years down Blues, and it's not just us that get shit refs. It's every other team in the 92 that get awful refs, awful decisions. So it's just part of the game, innit? But last night, yeah, he wasn't the best, was he?
It's dreadful.
I mean, there was a few, weren't there? The worst one was Sanderson's, who obviously was literally looking for the ball when it drops out the air. He has a little bit of contact. The player goes down. The referee gives the foul, and it got worse from that point on because then the referee was going over to Hannibal to check on the corner to make sure that he was keeping the ball on the spot.
Did you
Yeah,
see
I
what
After-
Did
know.
you see what Hannibal did to him though? To be fair,
What did he do? What did he do?
so when the ref went over and looked, and the ref looked up at Hannibal, Hannibal went as
Oh,
if he did,
really?
like you can see it. Yeah, he's such a
Apparently,
shit.
I don't think you can do that. I think that is some discreet law that says you can't do that. So he got lucky with that one, yeah.
Hannibal, I love him because he's such
He's
a
great,
shit house.
isn't he?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
He
nickname him
is.
Shithouseable because that is
He's
what he is.
brilliant. He's
Shit,
brilliant. We
that's
haven't
a-
had a player like that at Blues for a while, have we? I'm
It's
trying to think of
literally
the last
Robbie
one that was.
Savage was the last shit house we had like
Yeah,
that.
and I've seen
Like,
people comparing Hannibal to Robbie Savage quite a bit, to be fair. So, but in recent years we haven't had any, so it's nice to have that sort of player that just gets under other players' skins and referees. So,
Barry Ferguson at a push, maybe.
Barry
yeah,
Ferguson was a shit.
Yeah.
Barry Ferguson and Lee Bow in the middle together must have been horrible to referee. They must have hated every game. Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm dealing with them again. Like,
I think that's something that we can talk about a bit later. Maybe it's the transfer window because we are coming up towards that now. The January transfer window. We were talking about this on the podcast, a podcast that didn't go out, obviously, because it was a bit too close to the Swansea game in the end. I managed to edit it, but we just couldn't turn it around in time. So it was like pretty much on the evening that everybody was going to the Swansea game. But Zach, I can't remember exactly the quote it was, but you might want to refresh me here. But like Bielik, sort of like he's been given the permission of the Derby boss to sort of stay.
So if Bielik says to Paul Warne, Derby boss, he doesn't want to go back in January, he's not gonna force it. So at first we all thought Bielik's going back whether he wants to or not. He has to suck it up and get on with it. But after what he said, he's saying he won't recall him if he doesn't want to, which makes sense because why would you want to recall a player that doesn't want to play for your club? He's doing well in the champ. We said this a million times, but he's doing brilliantly in the championship. He's holding his own. He's been told, I don't know, have they announced the World Cup squad yet? Poland?
a lot of teams have been announced today.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was thinking. So he was told if he wants to get into the squad, he's got to play in a higher league, which he's doing. He's been one of our best players. And I'll tell you what, we missed Bielik yesterday. I 100% noticed it. Swansea just had, they were just getting through us. It wasn't even necessarily down the middle. They were just getting through us more than most teams have. I think his defensive presence in the middle is just something we haven't seen down at Blues in a long time. It's like that extra cover in the defense, isn't it? He stops so much from going from their defensive half into our attacking half. So we missed him yesterday. But yeah, as Paul Warne said, if he doesn't want to go back, he won't go back. So potentially we could be keeping him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to believe that, but a manager is a manager and they can chat absolute waffle sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're struggling in the league and they feel like they need him, he's doing one of these. That's going, yeah, he doesn't have to come back. Yeah, he doesn't have to come back if he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
you can't trust everything that's said by managers. So you know what, if we can keep him, brilliant. If not, the good thing is we do have backup options. Are they half as good as Bielik? No, but again, it could allow us to get someone just as good through the door in January.
I thought Bakuna did a good job in the first half, but I felt like he was wasted. I feel like when Hannibal went to defensive midfield, though, there was a different level. Like his composure on the ball, the way he was. Obviously, you lose that kind of press in the middle when you drop Hannibal to CDM, but he just controlled that middle so well. I thought Hannibal for a lad his age as well.
He's a joke of a player. Like we've said, you can't fall in love with a lone player, but I'd give up my arm to have Hannibal stay at Blues. Honestly, God, he's phenomenal. He is. I'd rather Hannibal stay at Blues than England win the World Cup. I just want Hannibal at Blues forever.
I'll say that, man.
No, I don't care. I've said it and I'm sticking by it.
Really?
I want Hannibal at Blues forever. God. He's amazing. He's so good. He is great. He's a great player to have in the team. And the thing is, he's a big club. He's going to have a hefty, because it's not just us as Blues fans that are noticing it. I've had a few mates come up to me and said, I've dipped into this Blues game and that Hannibal, he's something, isn't he? Man United fans, you probably see, but because there's so many Man United fans, the amount of compilations you see of him, like all Man United fans watching us because of Hannibal. So we're not going to be able to keep him.
The whole country of Tunisia now love us.
Yeah, I know. So the chance of us keeping him or buying him, near impossible, but
and he didn't get booked yesterday, did he?
No, I don't think so.
First.
Makes a change, doesn't it? Makes a change.
No,
Well, we'll say that. Let me just Google it really quickly because I did.
Yeah, double check.
I
Double
did
check.
notice at one point Hannibal was on the floor and like that number 3 slapped him on the arse. He walked past. I don't know if you copped it, Tommy. Hannibal shot up and went for him, and Troy literally ran over to Hannibal and got on his
Yeah,
way like,
no.
no, walk
No.
away. You
Yeah.
just instantly Troy was like, well, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, there was. I mean, we'll go back to the referee every now and then, obviously, because he was just too. It was just he was too cautious. I think the best way of describing it, really, without getting too frustrated. Because I'm looking down at the list of all the yellow cards. I mean, there was about 4 or 5 in the second half alone. Never mind in the whole fucking game. Like, there's how many? 2 in the first half, 3, 4, 5. 5 yellow cards, 8 yellow cards in the whole entire game.
How's Hannibal not got one? I would
And
put my
Hannibal hasn't
life
got
on the
one.
fact Hannibal would have got one if there's 8 yellow cards in the game. He hasn't. So
How's he managed not to
don't
get
know how
one?
he's done
If
that, but
if
fair
I
play.
bet on Blues, I always now put booking points at
7.
least Hannibal 10
100%.
because I know he's
100%.
gonna surely get a yellow at some point.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, isn't it?
I still firmly believe if Dean and Bielik were fit yesterday and able to play, I think we
Yeah.
walk away 2-3-0 like yesterday.
We wouldn't
I
have
agree.
conceded those goals because they both sort of came in that area where those crosses would have been stopped in the first place. Particularly the first one that went over the top of the defence and Jordan Graham doesn't pick up his man. Bielik would have put on the pressure to have forced out wide in the first place, which is what we did well against Stoke, actually. Bielik just controls that midfield brilliantly. You know, he doesn't get the credit that I don't think that, you know, he obviously does, but in terms of like people rate Hannibal probably a little bit higher at the moment because of his work rate. And rightly so, of course. But Bielik does those jobs that go unnoticed, don't they? And I feel like that's what he does brilliantly.
He does the
just sort
dirty
of,
work.
yeah, he diverts the pressure places where they need to, because particularly against Stoke is why you have Chung and in a way, kind of like how Hogan got the first goal, even though Hogan did the good pressing. But he made it possible for him to get onto those chances, Hogan, because Bielik was shielding round the midfield to push him into places that they didn't want to go. And so that's why last night, when you got Hannibal chasing, he's doing the initial press. But then if the play gets past Hannibal, then they're pretty much straight at the back line, which is why there was so much open space within the middle for them to make those over the top through ball passes. So to get a draw out of a performance, you know, against the top side like Swansea, you know, it's good. And we didn't even have our first team squad as well.
No, I don't think we'll see a better footballing team down St Andrews this season.
Yeah.
Completely
No,
agree.
they
Completely
really
agree.
nice.
They surprised me. They surprised me
Yeah.
a lot. I didn't expect them to be as good as they were, but genuinely, they were better than all 3 of QPR, Blackburn, Burnley, 100%. So I can see him doing quite well this season.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I mean, next time hopefully the referee isn't a complete, you know, div, but we move like
Yeah.
we move.
It
What's that
happens,
word I'm not
doesn't
allowed
it?
to say again?
There's about a million of
That
them.
one's okay. That one's okay. It's just when you start using really offensive words like the C words that I
Yeah, that's what I mean.
always
What's that word? I can't.
Yeah, it's
Poor
just on the
Tommy
tip of
has
my
to spend
tongue.
ages editing it out, and it's just
Literally, like every single word that my brother says at the football is literally that fucking word. So it's just like as soon as he says it, cut.
yeah.
I can't use this clip anymore. Honestly.
Oh, what a man.
But I am happy with the point. I'm happy with the way we got the point as well last night. You know, I love the determination of the team. I love the fight back, and the changes worked.
It did. Yeah.
Duke is a reformed man. Like Zach, you said last week on when we were talking about the pod light. He's just everyone thought he was done.
Yeah,
He ain't done. He's got another 2-3 in him.
If
you play to his strengths.
Yeah, he offers so much, doesn't he? He holds up the ball brilliantly. His aerial ability, I've said it before. Djukovic is the best header of the football I've seen, not just at Blues, in football.
Yeah.
He just seems to win every single header. It's unbelievable. He's still got life left in him. I think all 3 of our strikers, Djukovic, Deeney, Hogan. I love Hogan at the moment. I've always been a bit hit and miss with Hogan. I mean, it's pretty harsh to say if you don't love him at the moment as a Blues fan, because he's a completely different player to what he's been. Deeney was poor last season, being honest. Didn't rate Deeney at all. Thought, he's just been wasted here. Again, phenomenal so far this season. Djukovic is coming on and making an impact. Yes, we do need another striker, over the transfer window, but the ones we've got at the moment, yes, Djukovic and Dini aren't banging in the goals, but they're offering so much more. Again, like Bielik, doing the dirty work off the ball.
It's nice to have as well. If we bring in like a bit of a speedy striker, we can rotate
100%.
between Deeney, Duke, and Hogan. Then, so it's
Mhm.
like whoever's not quite up to it at that day, we can always keep the quick player in. Let's just, for hypothetical reason, let's just say that player is Che Adams. We're not going to get him, of course, but someone like that, someone like Che Adams, who's quick and he's muscular and he's got a lot of strength.
Yeah.
So I'll just call him Adams because I can't think of any other player at the moment.
Right, we mentioned it last podcast, and I said I'm gutted we didn't get him, but Brandon Thomas Asante for West Brom.
Someone like
we didn't get him because he's literally like Adams. He's built, he's quick, he's doing well for Baggies when he comes off the bench, and he's one of the few players in that Baggies team that are doing well at the moment. But someone like him, he cost him £140,000, whatever. It was pennies. A striker like that would be perfect, and they're perfect for they're perfect for football in general. I think a built fast striker.
That's what every team wants, don't they?
Haaland and Mbappe, both pacey, both strong.
Yeah.
Che Adams in most recent years for us has been probably one of our best strikers. Fast, strong. It's the perfect build for a striker. So if we can get someone in like that, it'd be perfect for us.
And I mean, if you've got any suggestions to what players you might be good for the Blues, I don't know whether you might be into like your Football Manager or whatever. But leave them in the comments. See what because obviously I don't know anybody other than to be quite honest. That's why I'm only suggesting Che Adams. But if you do have like some suggestions for potential striker options in the January transfer window, then let us know in the comments down below. Be interesting to read your thoughts on that.
I genuinely am going to shoot myself in the foot here, but I would actually like to see Lecco have a bit of a go now because we're on about pacey strikers who can get in behind and stuff. But as much as I've slated him, he is lightning. The kid is quick.
Yeah. He's a nuisance, isn't he? Yeah.
I know. And to be fair, Lecco looks like that player that if he gets that goal, he might actually turn into okay. Well, like, he looks very confidence based. He looks like he's got zero confidence at the minute. Last night, I was literally saying to myself, like, I know we're trying not to dig out players there, but Graham, he's a wing back playing. He's a winger playing wing back, and you could see it last night, and that's not his fault. These things happen. He was trying to do a good job for the team, and it happens.
He's trying. That's definitely, isn't it?
I would have probably given Lecco a goal last night though as well. I'm going, you know what? If we're just going to full send this and try and get an equaliser, why not put Lecco out there?
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of the average players at Blues last season who are still here now, since having the quality around them, have all improved their game. So maybe Lecco being surrounded by better quality, a better version of Hogan, a better version of Deeney, a better back line, a quality midfield. Might propel his game.
I know what
as
you're
well.
trying to say there. Yeah, it's like they've not performed up to quite. They could perform better in a better team. I think that's what you're trying to get at there. It's like because particularly with Lecco, obviously Karanka bought him, and that team was just dying with confidence. It just had nothing. It's like couldn't get anything out of them. Boyo had a little bit, but under John Eustace, I feel like he's got everybody happy. Even the people who aren't in the team, like Neil Etheridge, is still coming up to everybody at the end of the game, giving them hugs and everything.
Yeah.
I think you're right, actually, Jamie. Give Jonathan Lecco a go, because
why not?
Yeah, a bit of speed is probably what we needed a bit last night because there was lots of in and around the box type of stuff. And with Lecco, if he just made like a couple off the ball runs and some sort of running offside just to drag some defenders out, I think that could have helped a bit because we moved Bakuna into right wing back.
I thought he was class last night, by the way.
He was good. But again, moving players into the wrong positions, it's not too good. So I feel like if we were going to do that sub, why didn't we bring on Lecco instead? Why didn't we leave Colin on, take Jordan Graham off, and then put Lecco on, and then put Jordan James in the midfield as well? Because we could move to a front three then, almost, of like Deeney, Lecco, and Hogan. Put Lecco out wide. And we can sort of make that bit more, sort of into that last 5 minutes or whatever, and make a bit of a last-ditch push. But in a way, though, we didn't need him because we did equalise. Yeah. But we could have won it as well. Yeah. That's one thing.
We nearly did right at the end. Like we were saying about Lecco, you were saying, like, if he just trains with the right people, you're telling me he's not trying to... If he's smart enough, he'll be sat there trying to take every inch of advice off Troy, finishing-wise.
100%.
You'll be drilling with Troy. You'll be drilling with Scott. How do I do this? Like, how do you do that? I mean, you will teach him, like, here's how you hold the ball. Look, Troy's there, like, this is how you finish, like, lad. This is how I do it. Like, Oban will teach you how to poach.
Yeah, and off the ball stuff as well, yeah.
them three strikers, if they like fused together, would be like the perfect Premier League centre forward, wouldn't they? Like
They
you've got the
they
best,
would, yeah.
incredible hold up play. Troy's just absolute strength and ability, and Scott's ability to poach as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
Got a
and
perfect
Duke's heading
striker.
ability too.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
basically Ireland.
it is. Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah.
I've never seen Jamie speak so highly of Jonathan Lecco in my life. Premier League quality, what's going on?
No, like I'm not saying he's Premier League quality. I'm saying like, but the players we have different aspects of a
Yeah.
Premier League quality
Yeah.
kind of player.
You're
And if
know what you
Lecco
mean,
could take all of that in, because no one liked Bowie. Like in terms of the players last season, clearly they didn't like Bowie. They felt like they were being roboted.
Mhm.
Like so, maybe Lecco needs a bit of freedom in the team.
Yeah,
I'd start him in the FA Cup. I would.
yeah,
I'd give him
why
a
Yeah,
not?
that's a
Why
good
not?
shout, actually.
They
prove me
complement
wrong. Go on.
they complement each other well. Our strikers, don't they? We've got a bit of speed in there in Lecco. We've got strength in Deeney and Hogan and a Duke. We've got a poacher in Hogan. So I know what you mean. It was like that season where we had Adams and Djukovic up front because literally they complement each other beautifully. Duke's got the strength and the hold-up play. Adams has got the pace and the finishing. You can't ask for much more. I think that season Duke got double goals and assists. Adams got 20 plus goals. It was perfect. So if we can just find that striker that either starts and displaces one of Deeney or Hogan, not that they're doing bad, but you know if they're better, they're better, and or one to come off the bench. You know we could really push for a top finisher season.
Maybe not even displays, like just. I love Hogan and I love that man runs himself into the ground, but there are times when you can't look at him going, man, just take him off. He looks exhausted. And you bring Lecco on for 10 minutes.
That's the thing. Hogan plays every minute. He has played every minute this season, pretty much, hasn't he? I can't remember when he's not started or come off. He comes off maybe with 5-10 minutes left, but otherwise he doesn't come off, does he? So it's a tricky one.
Perhaps against Wigan, I think Cosgrove came on for him.
Did he?
Think so, anyway. Yeah, I think that's probably the only time he might come off.
Which is mad, given we're 20 games in. Is it 20?
I think it's 20, yeah.
Yeah.
So playing that amount of games and not really having rest it's difficult, isn't it? So I think we definitely need another striker over January.
Where do we stand, by the way, in thinking that we might have got away with a penalty in the like 93rd minute?
With the Bakuna one?
Yeah.
Nah.
So from my angle, I didn't think it was a pen, but I shit myself because obviously the ref went like that. I didn't realise he was going goal kick. Where I was like, has he just give a fucking pen? And you joking? I was about to lose my head. Like,
oh wow.
Admittedly, I was a little bit worried, but there again, it wasn't a penalty. It was just strength. It was pretty much the exact same as Sanderson, maybe a little bit more of a push, but that's just defending, unfortunately. And if referees want to give penalties for that, then the game's gone soft.
Yeah, but that ref was a bottle job yesterday.
He just overcomplicated things, at the end of it, really. He should have just let the game flow, and then the proper challenges that went in late. Like Bakuna's challenge that he put in, he slid it in, took the player out. It's a foul. Granted, the Swansea players went a bit mad about it, but that's only because they've tried to wound him up into a position where they're going to give like everything as a yellow card, which in a way he was kind of doing in the end. So it's like, mate, you just tell the players to naff off, and then you just manage the game how it comes to you, pretty much, rather than giving every little touch like Sanderson's one. Then you cause yourself problems, and he was in the end. When that challenge flies in, apparently that's now a red card, isn't it? When realistically, it's not. It was barely even a yellow. It was more of like a slip, really. He goes in, tries to win the ball with a sliding challenge. The player plays him at first, and he kind of jolts his foot at first, and then he goes in and he takes the player out. It's nothing, and neither is the Sanderson one either.
In Sunderland, that's play on.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's too complicated now. Really, it is. I could talk about this for ages, obviously, because it's something that really frustrates me. But you see that in loads of Sunday League games. Like literally, I've probably put in like 1 million of those challenges and nothing's happened from them. They play on because Swansea still had the ball, but the referee wants to control the game so much that he's brought it back to that and made a point out of it, and he's wound the Swansea players up so much they've ran over and tried to make him.
How many times last night as well when we're trying to take a free kick in Swansea as well, and the ref's like, no, take 2 steps backwards, and it's I
know. It's just she wants it to be all about him, doesn't he? Yeah, that wound me. I hate that.
There was one
Hate
point, and I
it.
think Hannibal's put the ball down the centre circle to take the quick free kick. Longelo, to be fair to him, if Hannibal spotted it as well, Hannibal's about to ping him through, and the ref's like, no, go back 2 steps. I'm just like, oh, fuck off.
I know. I get it. I get it when they take like 10 steps forward, but sometimes it's so minimal and it's like you're not letting the game flow. You always, as a fan player, you want the game to flow, and it just wasn't last night, which was so frustrating.
It's like at the snooker when the ref or whatever he is, like he's looking up at the screen, just moving moving the cue, just like make sure it's there. Okay, yeah, right now you can take the free kick.
Yeah.
And if we are talking about red card decisions that weren't given yesterday, Chong got wiped out. Hogan flicked the ball over their centre back and got absolutely crunched, like blocks his run clean.
Yeah, put an arm in his face as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and the ref was like,
yellow card.
yeah.
It was a yellow, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that probably. Oh, it was quite dangerous, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's always that grey area in modern football.
Hand in the face nowadays to letter of the law.
Yeah, I think
It's
for
the
me
last
it's a
man thing,
yellow.
though.
Was it last man? Was it fully?
I don't
last
know how
man?
that works anymore though, because
I think
changed
Hogan
it,
was 1-on-1. If Hogan goes round him like he was going to, Hogan's through on goal because their centre backs weren't catching Hogan.
Yeah, but that's the thing because he hadn't yet got round him. Does it? Do you know?
I see a lot of defenders doing that now though, because everybody doesn't. Well, nobody knows the rules of the game. Even me, I'm still a bit. I don't read the rules of the game every night before I go to bed. So I don't. I get the feeling though on last man, a lot of the defenders when they know they're in trouble, they sort of give the illusion that it's not last man by just sprinting past them. And I sort of saw that last night because like Hogan's gone beyond the one defender. He's pretty much in. And in that situation, you two fullbacks or the two centre backs beyond that centre back would sort of let that defender carry on trying to battle with him and then just try and support around him. But they didn't do that. What they did, Hogan gets past him, he blocks him off. And in that time, they just run past him like that to sort of give the effect that they're going to take the foul as a tactical foul. And then they'll sort of just give the illusion that it's not last man because there's two other players here. So, I don't know. That's what it looked like to me particularly. I see it a lot in the Premier League as well.
If that's VAR, though, I think that gets pulled back for a different kind of decision because they at that point aren't looking at, was he last man? They're looking at, is that a goal-scoring opportunity? Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah, because he's straight through on goal. And again, I'm not I don't read up on the rules every single night. I don't know them inside out. But that to me, a yellow card probably was the right decision. But after all the other decisions the ref was giving, then that one probably felt like, I don't know, maybe yellow was the right decision, but I don't know. And it's all the little other yellow cards that were granted for nothing. So it's like you get the same discipline for something just as soft, whereas like you take somebody else who's through on goal, then you get the same discipline for something just like a little nudge in the back or something.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think you said there were 8 yellow cards last night, didn't we?
I think it's 7.
The only yellow card I had 100% agreement with was when Dion took him out in the 94th.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like that's absolutely granted.
That's a fucking great yellow card. That is the professional yellow if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
that was like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he sprinted all the way about 80 yards back and wiped your man out when he was throwing goal. He looked at Ferguson and went, I had to.
Yeah, bang on,
yeah. Sometimes you got to take a hit for the team, aren't you? And that
you
was
could just see it.
Yeah, you 100% needed to do it. No complaints about that one. That's about the only decision I have no complaints about for the whole night. So.
And in all fairness, like as much as he had an improved second half, it was Longelo dicking on the ball again.
Oh yeah, there's that last minute, isn't there?
Watch your vlog when you just like, cross that fucking ball.
That's my brother. That is, yeah. He's just going mad about it. Just cross that fucking ball. He's just absolutely mad at the football. He's much more. He's an intelligent kid. I think he got a 9 in his history. He's like a proper intelligent kid. Yeah, the fucking Blues. He's a madman. Honestly, I did that little compilation of him at the awards night, which he fucking loved, of him just like absolutely raging at the football, smashing at the seats, banging the fucking signs at Derby, calling everybody a cunt of the way. I've got to bleep those out. So I'm sorry. I've got.
More editing for you, Tommy.
And you said to me, "You can't say the word, Jam, but I won't say the word." Beep. Football does that, doesn't it? It does it to all of us.
That's why we enjoy it, though. It genuinely is. Because that referee last night, he made my night really. Because like, if the game had just gone on like it had it gone, and like the referee was giving all the right decisions, it'd have been like a bit like Millwall, really, because nothing much was really happening. But the fact that the referee was having a bit of a mare, it got you behind something, didn't it? It gave you a bit of interest in the game, bit of passion towards something.
It's the first time in a long time down St Andrews I've heard "you're not fit to referee" ring around the stadium. I haven't heard that for a long time.
Yeah.
Which decision was that after? Because I remember that.
I think it was the Backer tackle when Backer got wiped out right towards the end.
Yes, I think so. I'll probably always find it on the.
I was genuinely concerned for Backer yesterday. Like that tackle was horrific on him. Because I heard that collision from main stand, and that was obviously that close to you, your side, Tommy. And you just heard the thud, and I was like, "Oh, that's bad." Like,
oh yeah, because that could you not make the game last night?
No, I couldn't. We won't get into a train rant now. I won't
Train
do
rant,
it.
train rant,
Well,
train
to be
rant.
fair, I actually could have, but it would have meant I got there 20 minutes into the game, and I would have had to leave at 80, and then wouldn't have got back till like 1 a.m. So was it worth it? I would have seen 60 minutes of football, and it would have been like 4 hours travel, something like that. So it's because that 11:09 to Nottingham, like it was against Millwall, was cancelled again. So frustrating.
Which rail line do you go with?
Oh, I have no idea. I go from Derby to Brum, but oh my God, no, I'm not going to do it. Let's get back to Blues because I actually will go on. I will go on for hours, but and I paid for my ticket as well. And I need to try and get a yeah, I'll try.
What do you mean you need to try and get a refund?
I know. Oh, trust me, I will. I'll try my best. But again, it's a rail line, in it, so I question if they will. But
yeah,
they probably even didn't realise they cancelled.
Yeah. Well, I checked a few hours before, so you know what? I should just get off my lazy ass and try some driving. That's probably the easiest thing to do, isn't it? So, but even that's expensive, so it's tricky, isn't it? But there you go. Is what it is. Anyway, what are we thinking for Sunderland, guys? What are we thinking?
I'm quite confident. I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite confident now.
If Harley's back, I'm confident. I know Bielik will be back in.
Yeah.
I just, it's like Troy said in his interview last night as well. He went, "We're not the only tired team. Everyone is tired. This is about mentality now. It's about, have we got one more? Do I worry because Sunderland have had a week off and they've somehow got the only fucking EFL Championship fixture during the World Cup, which is absolute bollocks."
That's something to discuss, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go. You want my rant now? Because I'm
Jamie's rants. It's funny because they're true.
No, I just don't understand it. But I genuinely hope if Harley's back, Bielik's back, I think we've got every chance to go on and win that game. But Sunderland are very unpredictable this season.
They're very hit and miss.
They've got a slightly decent team from what I know.
I know.
Got that. Jack Clark is his name?
Jack Clark, Greg Stewart scored a few. They got Luke O'Neill.
Patrick Roberts.
Don't know if
they got him still there.
Actually, I think they might, But yeah, Luke O'Neill, Greg Stewart's got 4 or 5, maybe even 6.
Have they got Amad Diallo?
Oh yes, they do. They do, because a mate asked me today, "Isn't Diallo at you?" And I said, "No, he's at Sunderland." So sorry, it's Ross Stewart, not Greg Stewart. But
Ross
they've got a few decent players. They started the season really well, and since they've sort of faltered off a bit, but they are a good team with some good players in there. I said, I can't remember how many episodes ago it was, but I think we had 5 games for the World Cup. I said we wouldn't lose. I'm sticking by it. We're not going to lose on Friday.
Your prediction's about to come true. Missed that 8 points. I tell you what, in the last 4.
My predictions have been unreal. I said that before QPR. I tweeted 2-0. It happened. I'm just on fire at the moment. There was one other I can't remember. It wasn't about Blues, but I'm getting everything right at the moment. So you know what? 2-0 Blues. You heard it here first. It's going to happen now, basically, because I've said it. So
I'm still half swinging me weapon around, because obviously I said Longello's going to score against QPR, and it actually came true.
Yeah, there you go. So shame you didn't put a bet on it that
night. I'm glad that we didn't put the podcast out, the one we did a couple of nights ago. I just got Jamie's face then. But because we were saying, we're going to put a bet on for Bielik to score a blinder against Swansea, and realised he was actually out for that game. It's just like, oh God, thank God we rescued ourselves on that one. I mean, I've exposed us now, but there's nothing bad about that.
I think we go into the World Cup with a lovely little 3 points, and I think we won't go 6th, even though we could. I think maybe because
how are we actually saying that at this point?
Unreal, isn't it? Imagine if we watched this last season and we were talking about 6th, 7th, 8th. We'd be like, what is going on?
Can you hear that, lads? Sounds like a promotion bus, boys.
I'm
That
holding
tastes
my
like
arm out for it.
promotion.
I'm holding my arm out for it. Come on, stop at us.
Honestly, if
Oh,
we go
brilliant.
up, I will do a 6-hour Blues Focus live stream of just me getting pissed.
Yeah, I'll
There
be
you
joining
go.
you. Yeah,
Like, we will just go
Make
away
it
somewhere,
free.
lads, for the weekend, and it is
Oh,
on. We'll just
that'll
go
just be
and
like the Christmas podcast. That will be, just us getting pissed for the
Yeah.
whole time.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not,
Yeah,
because
that's not, because
our
it's not going to
expectations will
happen.
be up here. And to be fair, I wanted this. I wanted top 10 before the World Cup, and I'm amazed I'm even saying that. But I wanted top 10 before the World Cup. A win on Friday night will put us into sixth because
Yeah.
we're the only Friday night game. We
Oh, are
won't
we?
stay there.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so a win on Friday night will put us into sixth. But
That looked
obviously
good
we're
for
not
when
going to
you
stay there because of the teams around us. But take a screenshot, enjoy it, stare at it for hours.
Tell you
'Cause
what,
that's what
It'll
I'm
be
going to
my
do.
it'll be my phone background for a
There
week.
we
That'll
go.
be-
There we go.
This
Sorted.
is the
But
most fun I've had as a Birmingham City fan in about 10
Yeah,
years. I'm
I'm
telling you
loving it.
now.
I'm
And it might be
absolutely
because
loving
we're on
it.
this podcast now and I'm having fun just talking about Blues
Yeah,
every week as well. But oh man, like,
But
this
how?
is such a good feeling down the club at the minute.
I know. Yeah, it genuinely is, and we are absolutely terrible as well. Any other team compared to us, they don't have half their stand closed. They don't have like millions of pounds in debt as well. Yet
know.
we're absolutely loving it at the moment. It's brilliant.
I loved it last night when the Swansea fans tried that your ground's too big for you and they didn't even fill their bet out and all the Blues fans just
I
went,
know.
yeah.
your
I know.
stand's too big for you.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. But how many times like last season? I know for me this was true when Blues were on and it just felt like a chore, and you were just like, oh, I've got to
Massively
watch
sure. I
Blues now.
completely agree.
So I remember just going through a period where I thought I watched every game still, but I just thought I just don't want to watch. I wish they weren't on. And I think one of our games were cancelled. And I was genuinely like buzzing because I didn't have to sit through 90 minutes of shit football for the weekend. But now, like, I constantly cannot wait for the next game. It's actually really nice for once to genuinely be looking forward to Blues play and seeing some good football, seeing us in a good position in the league. At the moment, it's amazing. I've said it loads of times. Football changes very quickly. Could be talking about something completely different in 5 games' time. But at the moment, whilst we're in the position we're in, I'm fully making the most of it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Blackpool after the World Cup break. And you're
Who's the other
comparing
one? Who's the other
Reading.
one? Sorry, Blackpool and Reading. Okay.
Yeah. So we've got Blackpool on the 10th and Reading on the 16th, which incidentally is 2 days before the World Cup final. So if we're in that final, then I'm not going to be in the most positive moods. I'm going to be absolutely shitting myself for all
I know
week.
we need to start talking about it, lads, but imagine if England win the World Cup and Blues do like a playoff push.
Oh,
Be the
what
best
a
fucking
year.
season ever. It
What
will
a year for football for us. My God.
And the Wolves come down.
Imagine.
How many years would it have been then if we'd been out of the top like 12
It was
years?
2011 we
Yeah.
went down, wasn't it?
I think we're the team that's been in the Championship now the longest since we've been down there.
Since Forest went up last season, we are, yeah. And Derby went down. Yeah, now we are.
Yeah. Which is
So
a bit of a depressing thought to think of, really, considering that we've always been
Well,
quite up and down in the Premier League. And
Yeah, but considering how close we've been to death of the Championship,
But
like-
this is the thing. This is the thing. It's not as if we've been 10th one season, 17th another, 6th another, 3rd another, 21st another. It's been 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It's been we've literally been stagnant. We have been. Imagine if someone said, like, in 2016 to now, you will hardly move in the Championship at all. Like, you'll stay in the league and you'll move like 2-3 positions. We've just been static. So it's nice to see us. Like, it's still weird looking at the table and just seeing us 10th. Like,
It is, yeah.
It doesn't feel
It's
right,
odd.
does it?
I don't really know where it's come from, really. It just must be John Eustace, really, who's got the good feelings going around all the players.
I think Troy as well. I think Troy's a big part of it. Don't get me wrong, Eustace is amazing, but you can see Troy just is the captain that we wanted.
Yeah.
Like, he just gets around the lads. Like,
I thought that actually when watching his interview last night. You can see he's just such a seasoned professional. He knows everything about the game. He's such a proper pro. And he's a winner as well. That's one thing I noticed as well. He's like, when he comes to talking about things, he doesn't like settling for losing all the time, which was kind of what Bowyer had done last season, I think. And obviously not to take anything away from Bowyer, because the guy's an absolute legend. He was sort of trying to just I don't want to say keep his job, actually, because that sounds a bit harsh, but he was trying to like damage limitation, wasn't he? Because it was like, after we'd gone on a couple of losses, it was like he was trying not to lose the next game in order to not get sacked. And Deeney is not like that because he is a player in most of his career. Like he's made the semi-finals with Watford. He's got them into the Premier League. I'm pretty sure he was the top scorer in the Championship a couple of seasons. And he's been on the verge of the England squad before. He wants to be in those positions where we're doing successful. He's not about finishing 17th every single season. So last season, he would have been upset with the fact that we weren't pulling our weight and performing well. So this season, he's much more happy because we're performing better. He's even said, he did say last night that we need to be better, but unbeaten run is all that matters, which I thought was a really good quote actually, because there's always room for improvements, but we got the points. Another game undefeated. I think our last defeat is Blackburn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
which is a very good thing to keep hold of.
Considering on that day, we could have took a point very easily from that day, if not for all
Should
three.
have won.
He compared that to the Blackburn game, actually, interestingly, because he said it was kind of like Blackburn, but obviously we got the points at the end of the game. So,
and he was right in what he said, the mental defeat. He said, it felt a bit like that, but we pushed through, and that's the mentality we've got this season.
100%, yeah.
Look at Bowie last season, and we'll go even to Crankar when we go 1-0 up, and he'd make them subs, and you just knew you were getting shit house for the next 45 minutes. You knew.
Part of the bus for 45, the rest of the game, wasn't it? And it's just.
I trust Eustace as a manager, as a Birmingham fan. I trust him.
100%.
Like when we were 2-0 up against Huddersfield at half time, we made it 2-1. Obviously, I was nervous because I've still got bloody Vietnam flashbacks from Lee Bowyer, but
I think I said in the podcast it didn't go up when we were doing our predicted lineups, and I think in the end I said whatever Eustace goes for though, I'll 100% back and trust his decision because I have complete faith in him. Whatever the decision he makes is going to be the right decision, and it's the same with even like the substitutes he's making. We saw the night where George Hall played it into Hogan. I can't remember who that was against. Burnley, that was it. But I remember George Hall and Djukovic coming on. I was a bit like, an 18-year-old and an age in Djukovic, are these the right decisions? Djukovic, I think, did something in the build-up. George Hall was the one to cross it in. Hogan obviously finished. So I 100%, every decision Eustace makes at the moment, 100% back from it. I just don't think he's going to make an incorrect one.
I know, like we at the minute he's got the back. You give him the keys to the city and stuff, man. Like that guy can do whatever he wants with that blue team, and we just laugh with it.
Yeah, and I think in terms of Tommy, you said a few minutes ago, like where it sort of changed and everything, like why we're doing so well. I think credit has to go to. Is it? I think the signings we've made, the loans we've bought in this year, there has not been a poor signing / loan player that's come into the club. We saw under Harry Redknapp when he bought in 14 players. Karanka and Bowyer bought in some poor players. This year, is it Craig Gardner who sort of does the bringing in of players? Is it that?
Yeah, I think he's massive in. He's in it somewhere.
Yeah.
What's his title? I can't remember.
I think it's like director. You know what?
He was massive in the Troy deal. I know that he was big time with the Troy stuff.
So if he is heavily involved, big time credit has to go to him because the players he's brought in, everyone has been brilliant and they've been such sound signings. Longolo we've never heard of. I've liked Longolo. I think he's been decent. Bielik obviously came in. He's been injured for like a year. Potential, not really sure how he's going to do. Hannibal, again, a bit unproven. 19, doesn't play often for Man United. But we've taken these risks and they've all paid off brilliantly. So I think credit has to go to whoever behind the scenes is making the decisions to get these players in.
Yeah, I think you're nailed on there with all the loan players, actually. I feel like there was a couple... Was there a couple last season that we didn't quite get right? Can't remember now, actually.
I'm trying to think who we
got. I think Craig Gardner, referred to him. I mean, apart from the odd... sorry, my dog's just going around my feet at the moment. She's distracting me.
So my one's scratching the door at the minute, and I'm literally just looking at the door like...
Yeah. Literally, like... Well, I think Craig Gardner, aside from the silly comments about that 5-year plan, or was it 5-year or 3-year plan? I can't remember now.
I don't think that was as much Craig's fault in terms of, I think Dong and that literally made it sound like there was a 5-year plan, and Craig loves this football club, so Craig was probably excited and went, yeah, let's go.
Because I think
that's not his fault.
I think he's done some great business, to be quite honest to him. I mean, like...
I think he has, yeah.
You get in... I think Chong was his sort of dealings as well, who last season, and obviously he's managed to recall him now. And if he's going to keep up the form of getting in good loanies and keeping on that good signing record, then fine. I'm willing to change my opinion on him because before I thought he was a bit. I don't know how to phrase it really. I was like a bit frustrated with him, perhaps. Because he's been at the Albion before, he's been at the Villa before as well, and it always felt like he was this kind of fake blue nose at times. And I don't like using that word because as soon as you use like fake, it always makes it for bigger context. But it just felt like he wasn't quite devoted to the club as it was. And I've got no issue with that. It's like, as long as he keeps on doing his job, which is evident to see at the moment, that he's bringing in the players that we need for this squad, for Eustace to work with. So I'm happy for him to, not be the biggest Blues fan in the world, because I think John Eustace isn't, to an extent, to a massive Blues fan. I'm not too sure about that.
Go on, keep going. Sorry.
Well, because it's like he said he's a Birmingham lad, which I always start to get like my little alarm bells going on in my head. Because as soon as somebody says Birmingham, little alarm bells going off in my head. I always imagine Blues fans to call the Blues Blues. I've only a couple of people who I really know are Blues fans always call us Birmingham, and that would be people like my granddad or someone like that. But it's always Blues. That's how you refer to us as like proper fans. Like that's how a fan would say like we're Blues. So when John Eustace would say Birmingham or Craig Gardner would say Birmingham, it's like it doesn't quite connect in the same way. But I've got no issue just as long as they carry on doing their job well.
Honestly,
so
I was about to say John Eustace could support Villa, Wolves,
exactly. Yeah,
Coventry.
I wouldn't care less.
I don't care because he's doing brilliant. But I know what you mean. I mean, we've seen like Hogan. My mate showed me a tweet today of Hogan saying the city is ours when he was at Villa. It happens, but players change. I think Hogan certainly hates Villa now and loves us more. I mean, I might be wrong, but I hope he does. But yeah, I know what you mean with Gardner because he'd been about and he'd said some things about Blues when he was at Villa and stuff like that. But at the moment, there's people like Eustace, they can support whoever they want. I don't care. As long as he keeps getting us results, I'm buzzing.
It is, but nevertheless, what we've all just kind of commonly agreed, we love Craig Gardner. We love Eustace.
Yeah, if it gets the wins, then it doesn't matter. Like Scott Hogan's the next Villa player. He's scoring us goals. Who cares?
Exactly.
In a way, they are Blues because they put the shirt on every single day. They work for the club every single day. So they are allied with Blues, and they do a job for us, really. They really do. And they have been pulling their weight a lot more recently. And if they can get the stands fixed, then things are almost back on track now. That's the thing. Because I've seen that the seats are being taken out. It's not a pretty sight. But sometimes you have
progress.
Yeah, exactly. It's at least something now. Like for ages, we've been seeing those, like the seats emptying and the scaffolding went up at one point. Then it's been covered up by those. What are they called? Yeah, they've been covered up. Yeah, but now the seat's been taken out, and then they're going to do work underneath it. Then I think Ian Dustin was saying it was at the end of the season that they had the stands back open. So, if they're back open by next season or by any miracle sometime towards the end of this season, then, that's done. You don't have to worry about that ever again. Maintenance, obviously, we'll keep up with, obviously. But as fans, we can get back into the lower tiers. And this whole malarkey about this amazing reopening thing will just like, it'll be nothing. It'll be like, stands are open, boom, done. Let's carry on with playing the football.
Yeah, imagine this as soon as the lower tiers come open. Imagine if there's a problem with the top tiers or something and they got to do that. Oh my God, imagine.
Something wrong with the Gilmerick.
When the ground is fully open again, the club have got to do everything to get as close to a full house as they possibly
They need to be dropping kids for a quid.
They've got to be doing under 13s for a quid,
Yeah.
adults a tenner, 18 to 24s, whatever it is, a fiver. They've
Get
got to
them
do
in the
everything
stands,
they
make
can
that profit
to get,
back.
Yeah, 100%. They've got
That
to do everything
atmosphere
they can
last
to get it
night,
full.
the moment Troy put the ball in the net last night, the stadium erupted, and you could just imagine if it's a full house, what that'd be like.
Because
QPR
I was thinking
game as well.
Yeah, because I was thinking this, and my dad was too. He was saying that it's kind of a chore. I mean, again, to sort of get behind the club in that sort of circumstance, particularly last season. When like the football was shit, the ground was shit. But now that we're playing better, it's come back. The atmosphere has, but it's hard to get the atmosphere going, knowing that there's a 15,000 missing or something like that. It's like that there's something missing from those bottom tiers just being open because any other club, they don't have those problems. Their ground's open the whole time, and if it isn't, then they'll let you know. I think that's the biggest issue, is the fact that they've not let us know before, really.
And we really are the 12th man. I mean, I know it's a very,
Yeah.
very football saying, but
And Rich says it every
we
game,
we will back our boys to the death. And I think last night the fans pushed that Blues team on.
Yeah,
Like,
because we
very
didn't
much
accept
so.
the fact that we're going to lose, and
No.
again, it's like the frustration of loving the club, really, because we say things sometimes that probably we don't mean in the grand scheme of things when we just go like that. But then again, when that goal goes in, all is forgotten. We don't give a shit that the bottom tiers are closed or whatever. Goal goes
Honestly.
in, boom, get the fuck in.
I was ecstatic at the goal, but the thing that I was most overjoyed was I was like, Troy has fucking earned that. Like I said that to my mates last night. I went, if anyone deserved to have that last night, it was Deeney. Hogan got his goal and worked his socks off. Everyone did, but you could just see it in Troy's eyes when he scored. He was like, yes, like, just have it. And that's the fans again. Like, we just kind of, and Friday's massive for this atmosphere with the boys because they're going to be tired and we need to power this through. I'm at work. I'm gutted, man. I'm working Friday night. I'm devastated. Like,
that's such a shame.
Did they move that game? I'm pretty sure they have, because I don't remember it being a Friday night game.
It's
And
the
it
last
was
time
on
I'll
the
be
12th.
working. It's the last time I'm working a night shift during a Birmingham City
that's
game. I'm back on
gutting.
days from next month, and I can't wait.
Man.
I mean, you might be right, Tommy, because we've only recently had a Friday night game, so to have two quite close, they don't. Yeah, you know, I don't know, but again, I imagine it'll be pretty packed on Friday, just because it's the last game before the World Cup. Friday night games, they tend to do quite well down at Blues, to be fair. So fingers crossed we're hitting 18, 19, 20,000 at least.
Yeah, it should be good. It's Remembrance Day as well on that day too, so it'll be good to wear the poppies and everything for that. So yeah, it's been a good chat again, guys. It's been really interesting to get your thoughts and everything.
Definitely, man.
It's been really interesting these last few podcasts actually, because we've been seeing a big change in the Blues coming on, really. Because like, I can't remember the first podcast meeting you did, Jamie, because Zach, you joined like 2 episodes later and started to do this consistently. But we've done loads recently. I mean, like, in terms of the ones that haven't even gone out, we've still been keeping them going. And of course, you know, it's been really helpful to the fact of listening to your feedback on everything. And it, again, you know, just let us know what you think about the podcast. If you've got any ideas for the podcast, if you've got suggestions for improvements, we're always open to it. We're always very interactive in the comment section. I'm always, as soon as the video goes up, I'm always looking for people's thoughts in the comments down below, you know, just to get us interested, get us some topics as well to talk about, because sometimes we do lack on some things to talk about. We sometimes can go around in
for example.
Yeah. God, we could have done a fucking live phone in for that one. We needed some rants at that point.
But we want to continue over the World Cup period as well. Obviously, a month about club football. So any ideas are much appreciated. We've sort of said things like tier lists, maybe getting, you know, a few fans on, a bit of a live thing. So absolutely anything we're down to do.
We might try like some Instagram lives over the World Cup period. We can invite some people on and get their thoughts about things. Talk about England as well. We might even, depending on how far we get in the World Cup, we might do a watch along, which is something that I have been thinking about. We might do that depending on how far we get into the World Cup, really, because if we get into the World Cup and then realise we're going to go out in the fucking round of 16, then we're not doing that.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me.
It'd be like if we get to the semis or whatever or something, which I bloody hope we do. We'll just wait for Jamie to come back and then we can sign this.
I am here. Sorry, dog being a
That's all right. That's all right.
I figured it was the dog.
Sorry, I could. You know when you leave something on their own, because obviously Mum and my brother are out. You can just hear rattling from. Oh, hello, mate. You can hear rattling from outside. I was like, I hear noise. Dog's being quiet. Sorry. I'm like,
want to sign it out with? Do you want to sign it out with a dog in shot?
Oh, shit.
What's the name again?
It's Hercules.
Hercules, that's it.
Such a cool name.
He's
that's wicked, yeah.
To be called. Listen, stop being a bell.
So we're going to sign this out with Hercules in the shot. Little dog. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this podcast again. It's been really, really good recording with these two as usual. And yeah, get your thoughts down in the comment section. Let us know what you thought about it, whether you've agreed, whether you've disagreed. Let's have a proper conversation about things as well, because it's been really interesting to get to know all your thoughts behind the scenes. We had a lot of people DMing the show recently, letting us know about their thoughts about the podcast. It's been really nice just to get some feedback off people.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been really interesting to see. So yeah, thank you two boys for coming on again. It's been really good to get all your thoughts about things. And Zach, if it comes true that we will go undefeated before the World Cup, then I
I'm
owe you a
telling
pint.
We will. We will not lose on Friday. We might draw, but we won't lose. I
I
promise.
know, yeah.
We're gonna win 2-0.
2-0.
I'm going 2-0 as well.
2-0. I'll go
Scotty
2-0
gets
as well,
Scotty
yeah.
gets his 10th of the season as well.
Yeah, and Deeney gets his
3-2
fourth. I think that's a
Yeah.
good
That'd be
shout
great.
Into the top 6. Oh, what a night.
for a
What
night.
night.
Before
Beautiful.
fucking who wins. And then, yeah, let's face
Yeah.
it, fucking QPR are going to win, so they'll go back into sixth.
Yeah, that is true.
But whilst that lasts, then that's all that matters, really. I'll wake up probably because after that Friday, I'm always absolutely exhausted. So I'll probably wake up about 3 o'clock and then realise that QPR have won and then back into sixth. Yeah. Well, wicked. Yeah, it's been great again. Thank you two boys for coming on again. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and keep right on.
Keep right on.
Keep on.